If you have been approaching back pain relief via stretching, this video is for you. And no, I'm not gonna give you stretches. This is not about the best stretch for back pain relief. I wanna show you why stretching should not be your #1 source for back pain relief. So if that is you, if you've been toying with the idea of stretching more, or if you've been stretching already and your back still hurts, this video is for you. William here from fitnessforbackpain.com. Thanks again for watching another episode here on my channel. Really excited about today's video. Before we dive in, free gift, always giving away gifts over here. If you are trying to figure out why your back hurts, trying to figure out how to use exercise to get rid of your pain instead of having surgery or injections or signing up for another round of physical therapy, any of that stuff, and you wanna say, hey, let's try something holistic. Let's try something that I can control. I've got a free gift for you. Go to fitnessforbackpain.com/back pain workshop. I break down all of my exercise mindset strategies when it comes to how to approach it, what to do first, what to do in the middle of your workout, how to organize your exercises, what you should do first, what you should do last, everything you need to use exercise to get out of pain. Go get it, fitnessforbackpain.com/back pain workshop. So when we're talking about tight muscles and thinking that we have to be stretching said tight muscles, I want to give you a different approach. And the first thing I want you to look at is your habits, right? Is your daily activities, what you do during those activities, whether they're your pain triggers or not. But really, it's a different mindset around how you're moving, right? We're talking about things that are causing tightness, talking about habits that you might have that be causing tightness. And once you are tight, you decide to stretch. Instead of deciding to stretch, let's look at what you're doing that's causing the desire to stretch. So the way I look at it is I always go back to this very specific story of during my really crazy pain-filled season of life when I had a lot of back pain and a lot of muscle tightness in my QLs and my erector muscles, is I was doing a lot of things wrong when it comes to the daily activities that I would do. For example, mowing the grass. I have a bag on the back of my mower. I would pull the bag off, empty the bag of grass into the woods or in my trash can, whatever. But the key thing is when I was doing that, every time I cut the grass, I knew that I had back pain. I knew that cutting the grass was gonna cause me back pain. Doing the activities of cutting the grass, blowing the grass, weed whacking the grass is gonna cause me back pain. So what I was thinking is I will change the way I move and hold a perfect rigid posture during all those activities. At first, that might be like, dude, that's a great idea. Perfect posture, that will give me a pain-free body. No, that's wrong, it's not correct. Because what happens is I started to overprotect during very basic movements that our body should be able to move freely while doing. It's overprotection, it's overcompensating, it's overcontracting, it's all these different things that your body does not necessarily need. So what happens is you try to maintain this super rigid, super tight, super perfect posture, and it could lead to chronic tightness, chronic tension, chronic overexertion to these tissues that now you're trying to, on the back end, that are tight, tired, and pissed off because you've been doing all this perfect stuff. They're tired and they're achy and they're tightening up and they're protecting because you're creating this movement habit. The second strategy that you can take when it comes to approaching tight muscles, stretching, should you stretch, should you not stretch, is looking at strengthening the opposing muscles, the opposite muscles of what is tight. I know that sounds crazy, but there's lots of different mindsets and just beliefs around how we should approach tight muscles. And I think an old traditional, well-accepted way of doing that is stretching. And since we're on the topic of not stretching so much and taking more of a strengthening approach, because that's what you should be doing, there's lots of different opposing muscle groups when it comes to tightness. There's lots of different muscles you have to look at. So for every individual person, it will be different. So you have to explore your body, explore what is tight, what is the opposite or the opposing muscle of what is tight and focus on strengthening those specific muscles. Because once you start to strengthen these things or learning to activate, not that they're inactive or sleepy or tired or they don't work anymore. It's not that way of thinking. It's more about finding balance in your strength training program. I always harp on smarter strength training. It's building a well-balanced program that is designed around the low back or sensitivity in the low back, post-surgery, whatever it may be, but finding balance in the body, where instead of having over tight hip flexors, over tight, over activated low back muscles causing this super tight tension in the low back, and now you're trying to stretch your hip flexors out, you're trying to stretch your low back out by all these stupid stretches that you shouldn't be doing that cause back pain. The balance comes when you can strengthen these opposing muscles to the tightness and try to get that balance throughout the entire body. All right, so we gotta move around for this third point because you gotta change the angle because people's attention, like me, attention span is like this big. So I'm gonna move a little bit different background. Let's talk about point number 3 now. On the other side of this weakness strengthening coin is the strengthening these specific tight muscles. This is the last strategy that you can approach or try to experiment with your own specific training program and tight muscle situation. So weak muscles respond very strangely, right? There's no one specific way. It's not just, oh, my glutes are weak, oh, my hamstrings are weak, therefore they are X, Y, and Z. They respond a lot of different ways. For some people, it's just aches. For some people, it's just like floating pains where it goes from your QL to your lat to your oblique to your whatever. Like there's lots of different strange ways that your body responds to overcompensation, or maybe it be the opposing muscle issue that we talked about earlier, or now it's the weak muscle that's actually just so weak and tired that it just stays chronically tight, chronically tense, and being overprotective of any kind of movement. So you can see how there's so many different layers to why we get tight. But if we look at it from a strength standpoint, a very simple strength standpoint, this would lead you to actually trying to balance out the body again, but now we're trying to strengthen what may be weak, strengthen that may be not being used properly due to pain. Great example of this is your low back. For me personally, I ruptured my L5-S1 disc a long time ago, lots of pain, stopped doing deadlifts, stopped doing any kind of lower back direct work because I was afraid that since my disc was gone, that my bones were just grinding together and they were just gonna grind themselves down to nothing and I was gonna be paralyzed. There's lots of different fears that I had at that time when I was just told that or was given that diagnosis. So for me, I stopped working these muscles. I continued to do leg workouts, I did ab workouts, chest, back, but when it comes to the lower back, anything that had to do with moving that area, hinging in any certain way with any kind of weight, I stopped doing. So I developed weakness, I developed imbalances. For you, if you have tried the opposing muscle group situation, where that was point number 2, where you're strengthening the opposing muscles, the last thing that you can focus on is strengthening the muscles that are actually tight. Get away from the fearful approach to exercise, like, I don't wanna train my hamstrings because my hamstrings are tight and I want them to get more tight. Well, odds are they're tight because they're weak. The quads are overactive. They're the ones that are the dominant movers, and the hamstring and glutes are not being worked or used the way they should. One last point. One more thing I want to say before I let you go. It's almost done. We're almost done here, okay? One last thing. If you're going to stretch, do not stretch before your workout. Right? If you know for a fact you've got tight quads, the best time to do this stuff is post-workout, right? If you know you're working on your hamstrings, you're working on your glutes, trying to build this strength up, build confidence in these muscles again, but you know that your quads are what's tight, so you don't want to train your quads or whatever situation you're kind of navigating, if you're going to do the stretching, do it post-workout, after you've engaged and you've activated these muscles that need to be strengthened. So if you're looking at the opposing strategy where your quads are super tight and you want to work your hamstrings and glutes, work your hamstrings and glutes, train them well, train them smart, and then at the end of the workout, or even during the workout, do some gentle quad stretching. Don't do the, I'm gonna force my quads into getting longer. No, there's a threshold to everything. So go gentle into the quad stretch, relax the quads, relax your body. There should not be any kind of extreme pain where you're trying to just force the body to change. It's a terrible strategy for stretching. please stop doing it. If your strategy is to strengthen the tight muscles, if you think that that's really what you need to do because you've been just trying to just stay away from strengthening that area altogether, and now you want to introduce it back into your situation, I would hold off on stretching. I would focus on strengthening these areas first, leave it alone, give it 2-3 months, because it takes time to build muscle and get stronger. Leave it for a few months, and then maybe as you start building noticeable strength in these tight, stressed out muscles, then you can start adding some stretching in. So that's it, and I'm very curious to hear what you have to say, what you think your situation is. Do you have an opposing muscle group issue? Do you have a tight muscle group that is weak, that you're not using anymore due to fear or your painful situation? What is it for you? I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Leave it in the comment section below this video, and be sure to grab that free gift before you head out. It is totally free. Go to fitnessforbackpain.com/back pain workshop. It'll really break down even more in detail what we talked about today when it comes to smarter strength, finding balance, what you should do first, what you should do last. The order really matters, and odds are your order is all jacked up. So check out that free gift, watch it. It's video based. It's not a bunch of PDFs you're gonna lose. It's video based. You have it forever. fitnessforbackpain.com/back pain workshop, and I'll see you on the next episode.